We've searched far and wide across the Kaprulu sector to bring you Zerg, and we found some here in America. Welcome to the World Championship Series. I'm Nathanius, joined by In Control, as we get into our second match for Group B of WCS Summer Challenger. And what's your favorite thing about summertime, In Control?
Oh, man.
Is it sitting by the pool with a mimosa relaxing?
Barbecuing. I like barbecuing with friends.
Nice.
You can do all kinds of stuff off of that.
Do you have a favorite barbecue dish? Are you like more chicken burger guy?
Chicken burger name. Are you
American? I was spreading them out. I should have spread it
Yeah.
out. I mean, there's a comma meant to be in
Don't
there.
spread it too far. You'll make people upset. It's cheeseburgers.
I'll try.
Cheeseburgers are good.
Okay.
Hot dogs are great. I don't think Europeans know about hot dogs. For them, it's a Polish sausage. Take out the Polish
Right.
and the sausage part. Just add more red meat. We don't even know what a hot dog is. That's the
No,
funny,
I don't think
the funny,
anybody-
Nobody does. It's the meat byproduct, but we like it.
We should have put one of those like in the when they sent the thing out to space, right? With
I'm
like
sure there is.
the data. There's got to be a hot dog in there so that they can be like they have unidentifiable organic material on their planet.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Well, we're loading into this Terran versus Zerg, so my stalling is complete. In the bottom left position, spawning as the red Zerg player. He is Jon Snow.
It's pretty cool at the end of Game of Thrones. They make Jon Snow sit on the Iron Throne and rule the 6 kingdoms like that.
Yeah.
And everything gets
awesome.
really happy.
That's pretty awesome. Best ending, actually.
Absolutely. On the top right-hand side, it is a man who calls himself Drunken Boy. And I don't know if anyone wants to tell him this. That's not how you spell boy. So his whole name is kind of a sham.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. No, well, I mean, if you consider the former part correct, then maybe he just can't spell the second part, right?
True.
So, and we're here playing on Neo Tom Cruise 84, so we've got our nice little slow zones.
We were kind of talking about this before, but it's like, shouldn't Drunken Boy just cheese Jon Snow? Isn't Jon Snow that insurmountable of an opponent? I think we give Jon Snow a lot of credit as a guy that has qualified and made it deep in WCS Challenger and even beyond. He's qualified for some of these WCS stops. He is a menace on that NA ladder. It doesn't go nearly as high as the European side, and they are kind of the beta boys. They don't consider themselves the counterparts of the European scene, which is a lot stronger in terms of how many. But Drunken Boy is old school good. He was around when Neeb was a Terran player, and he was tearing it up and doing really well himself. Very drop heavy, very micro oriented, kind of a Masa, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Drunken Boy was pretty fun to watch back in the day, and coming into this season of WCS Challenger, I was surprised. I was like, oh yeah, Drunken Boy's back, because if he's been playing this whole time, he disappeared somewhere. But
Well, yeah, I don't think so. Unless he
so
changed names and decided to change back, which does happen.
yeah. So that's to me, I think it's cool because I like it. It's kind of it also plays into this story that we have for this season, where all of these Terran players in America were just like, yeah, what up? We're going to qualify for everything because y'all been complaining about no Terrans in GSL or Europe or whatever. So like now it's just a Terran takeover, WCSNA. Every single group we've got 2 Terran players basically. So you're getting a lot of Terran action here in America.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
I
wanted.
said, it's not even like it's just like a bunch of random guys qualified. It's like, no, Drunken Boy is back and he's qualified and stuff like that. Or like we got a couple of players that are returning faces, some super new guys.
Crucial Nug gets the nod as like the pretty unanimously. Everyone's like, who's that? Like we actually asked Robbie, and he's like, who's that? No, I'm just kidding. He might know who that is.
I don't think that there's. Yeah, I was gonna say Fear Dragon. If there's a StarCraft player that he doesn't know
on the NA server.
Yeah. Thing is, he wouldn't admit it. He would say something like random to catch you off guard, and then he would immediately go learn their life story, like call their parents up, be like, so what was he like as a child? Was he chocolate milk, regular milk, strawberry milk?
He'd film a mini doc probably pretty quick too.
Yeah. In fact, I think it's already airing in theaters. So shout out to Ravi, first StarCraft director to actually push his product out. So. Starport is done. This is the part of the game where we find out what he actually wants to do. Very hype moment here. It's going to be a Viking. Is he just going to start stim, play a very basic style?
Yeah, look at that tech lab. Thinking the same thing. Sometimes it's like a Marauder into like a Hellion
Yeah.
timing attack, but it's not looking to be anything.
It's the greatest strength of Terran in this matchup, is that there's just like, there are at literally like 10 viable openings that you can do out of this 1-1-1, and they're all good. They're all good. Jon Snow's getting a good amount of links out, though. If he could catch these Hellions, because he's getting this Baneling Nest at this point, you normally are like thinking, okay, it's defensive, right, for Hellbats? But if he kills these Hellions in one of these slow zones or something, catches them off guard, very easy, just go right across the map, Baneling bust him, because he's not going to have tanks. So there's opportunity aplenty, and he's building a lot more lings, actually, while we're saying.
A lot of lings. Might go full NA here.
Well, I think after our first match today, that would be appropriate. When you run by with just enough Zerglings to do nothing.
Well,
Got a Marine, Jeff.
there you go.
One Marine. The medevac will heal the rest of them.
Can't heal if it's flying across the map.
That is, you are correct. It cannot heal and move at the same time. He's gonna get the over. He gets him. Nice.
And the lings seem to be just kind of precautionary, by the way. They were kind of anticipating some attack. There's 4 Banelings to be made. They're on this side of the map. They're all defensive. I think the respect here is being on display. Drunken Boy.
Yeah, I think this works in Drunken Boy's favor too, because like he isn't really committing to anything. He got the medevac for the Hellion drop, but even that should be able to bypass this. These Zerglings, right? Okay, he's inside the main base. Drones are on the run, and Drunken Boy has a really big opportunity as they start to stack up. He's got 3 kills, 4. If he can save the Hellions. All right, 4, and he loses 2. Okay, as long as he can either get that medevac out. The Hellions don't really matter anymore. If he can get that medevac out, that would be sick, but that would be very hard for him to do. He's got behind it. He just macroed up like crazy, which is why I said, like, if Jon Snow is going to commit to all this defense, then yeah, Drunken Boy just kind of gets to greed up. Double engineering bay, 3rd command center's done. 1-1s should be starting before the Zerg even has the Evo's done either.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You can keep going, Nate. Take it away.
I think I just did.
I know.
Sorry. Sorry, Jeff. I'm a terrible co-caster.
No, you're just too good. That's the way to look at it. Put a positive spin on it. You're so good, there's no need for a second.
I was actually paid off by the Mafia to just talk so much that people wouldn't have to listen to you anymore.
Yeah.
Your haters paid me off.
I can't bully if you're talking.
Yeah,
so
that was a strategy.
That's another. You got to.
I was going for the distributed denial of service strategy.
Real life casting DDoS. Insane.
Well, that Overseer is very slow and will not make it to the main scout.
Stop shooting me. Don't do it. I think of all the Zerg units, the one that could be like a grandfatherly, loving character, it's the Overlord / Overseer. They carry things, they just provide supply, they fly around, they look at stuff.
Yeah.
Not any ability to attack at all. They couldn't be aggressive if they wanted to.
No. But you remember the Overseer had the ability to drop Infested Terran in the beta?
Yeah, but it was a scouting one, wasn't it?
For a period of no.
It could fight?
Yeah.
Oh, that was... What? No, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. It was for like a patch. I played a lot of Zerg in beta because I've always loved Infested Terran stuff.
Yeah.
But that was like a whole meme and a half. You just put it like an Overseer behind their mineral line. It cost like 100 energy and it was terrible because it was just one. But
I don't remember that.
Overseers used to be able to kill stuff. And then, very unsurprisingly, I think Dustin Browder posted, he's like, hey, you realize having a unit that doesn't cost supply that can kill stuff might not be good for the game.
There might be a way to abuse that.
You can build literally infinite Overseers and theoretically have 100 Infested Terrans with a maxed army. So we should probably not do that.
I think at some point what I will, and I'll be really sad if this never happens, but kind of like the Great Raven discovery of now, why don't 5 or 6 Overseers constantly fly in and just plug up buildings? And then they can just duck out. Because with speed, they're so fast, they're tanky, they actually heal. So unless you kill them outright, and even if you do kill them outright, who cares? But if they shut down buildings over and over again, that's actually a massive impact. Yeah. But nobody ever does it, ever.
Yeah. Everybody says that it's like impossible as this drop gets pushed back. Everyone talks about how it's like impossible to squeeze it in, but then you look at any ZVZ at the highest level, and almost all the time, you like see the most clutch contaminates used on like the +2 or whatever, right on the evolution chamber, and you're like, that was huge. Why don't we see more of it?
When do they put a missile turret ring around the base? They never do.
Yeah.
It's always an open base.
Yeah. Well, it's just like how Terran players said forever that sensor towers were too expensive and you could never use them, and now we see Terrans actually use them all the time.
Turns out they're worth the cost. That's why sometimes when people say StarCraft players are so smart, I'm kind of like,
Well, they're also
smart
very
but not
stubborn.
imaginative.
Yeah. People are also just very stubborn. Change is scary in Control.
Yeah, but it's changed for the better.
Well, better for who?
Probably them. All right, double Medivacs making its way to the top. This is what you're going to see forever from Drunken Boy. Win or lose, he will drop. And it's not a drop, excuse me, it's Liberators, but they're dropping hot, steamy death, so it's kind of a drop.
It's, I mean, it's the same. I'm just going to give it to you.
Thank you.
Correct.
And now he's pushing out here a little bit with this kind of creep fighting force of old.
Yeah, this isn't really a lot of Marines. I guess the idea here is you do want to just try to pick off the Banelings and shave a few away, but this Liberator, getting nothing done. Gets 8 drone for 150 minerals and 150 gas.
This positioning, though, he's won this. The creep's been fought back, the tanks are spaced out. And Jon Snow knows this, but Hydras have to pass through here, perhaps? I don't think so. They're going to kind of try to wrap around the 12 o'clock, but they're just streaming in here individually.
The Vipers came in from the flank as well.
A Viper, yeah, and that's okay, but the Banelings kind of drying up. The tanks are on top of the damage now. The Hydra's going to turn tail. Queens don't move too fast off creep.
No, they do not.
It's not being reinforced, though. That's the part that I have trouble with. Like,
Yeah,
that was
I
good.
would like to see a parade. Maybe he's... my guess is that he's just... Yeah, he's being really overly cautious about run-bys. He rallied to the depot in his natural innovation style, so he's
Yeah.
like... he just didn't want to get backstabbed.
He's still not reinforcing, though. So now it's moved to bad.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a push like this, like you can see it. He's ahead in supply. He would have been hitting the hash. He probably could have killed the hatch right now if he had anything here to fight. But he's waiting this whole time.
Yeah.
Now, this next swath could just win the game anyways, in which
If
case, what's
he
my
stims-
criticism?
Yeah, I was going to say, if he stims those Marines and tries to do anything without the Medivacs healing them, they will just die in like one hit to the Hydras as well. So he literally just has to sit there and wait. And that wave all goes through the slow zone too.
There goes Jon Snow for that counterattack that, like you pointed out, he was worried about. And it's going to hit that wall.
This
that-
rally is great
ready.
though. I really like this from Drunken Boy. We don't really see enough Terran players do this.
Yeah.
That type of play is very good.
And here comes the fight on top of that base. It's going to be dislodged. The drones are going to go off the greener pastures, but behind that, I can see on the mini-map, there's some battle. I think it was just a Marine or two behind that mineral line as well. Just Drunken Boy's kind of everywhere. He's up 20 in supply now. Hash does finally die. And I love that he's expanding behind this. So on the right side of the map, you can see he's putting down additional bases. Those are going to be untouched as long as the army's shoving on this side.
Well, he did a good job. He just like took that base while he was doing all of this, and being able to put that level of pressure on is very nice. He is dropping a few scans, and there you go. And he gets the information that he wanted. Sees the Ultralisk Cavern. From the Viper play earlier, he would have obviously known there was a Hive in play, but now he knows that it's not going to be Broodlords coming at him, so he just needs to keep focusing on his anti-ground setup. So he can keep building tanks, he can squeeze in Marauders, and of course counterattacking through the slow zone is asking for a very painful death.
Yeah, I don't want to see the Ultras go through there. That'd be weird. Jon Snow tried to snag some tanks there, but they got picked up for the most part and pulled back. Now, Jon Snow still has a puncher's chance, excuse me. He did relocate his expansions to the left side. So he's just on the 4 bases versus the 4 of Drunken Boy. So that's not great, but he is choosing the lesser of evil. So he's like equal for now, but has this army that can fight an out-of-position Terran army, and will hopefully add on more bases to kind of continue to sustain the war effort.
Yeah. I think the real issue that's going to come up again goes back to what you were talking about earlier with all the pressure he put on. There's not a tremendous amount of creep spread. And this hatchery should just be like an easy smite. And no, taking this off creep. What do you...
Well, he's just going for it off creep and just kind of disjointed from everywhere. That's great blinding clouds. Will it be enough? The tanks are super shut down.
Yeah, but then the Liberators show up. The tanks are still able to hit the Hydra backline. And he's still off creep. So if he can deal with...
Wow.
Yeah, well, he's going to be able to lift up. I was going to say you could try to kite the Ultras, but some of the Hydras did remain. And, you know, going by the banks and the fact that 4th is still up and running, he's got the 5th command center closing in. I don't even know that I hate that too much for Drunken Boy. Like, tanks are only going to give you so much here and there, and he's going to rebuild them. But I think there was like 2 full sets of blinding clouds as well on the tanks.
But they hit every tank.
Like it was. And they hit every single siege tank.
Yeah,
so.
no excuse for that. That was Drunken Boy's poor execution. I agree with you that he's still in a fine spot, but if he spaces that out and it's more of a trade, it's like Jon Snow's
if those
dwindling.
tanks, no, you're 100% right. If those tanks are spread at all, it's a massacre.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, it's a really smart play from Jon Snow to recognize, hey, this fight may be off creep, but those tanks are in such a bad spot.
Right.
that he was like, yeah, I will run into your army from off creep and like let you just shoot at me for a whole 5 seconds before we actually even do anything, because without tanks, I know you can't kill me.
And you can see Drunken Boy's pretty infamous harass continuing here. 2 Liberators circling the top of the map.
We got a nuke on the way, fusion core, extra starports, so Drunken Boy is battening down the hatches for the end game.
Expanding everywhere. These ultras will have a say in that, though. They say, you're not going to be able to land here safely. You better pick up.
Yep, they've got that anabolic synthesis upgrade. Quick and thick ultralisks. And we have adrenal glands actually coming in now, too. A little bit of a counterattack. Actually getting the Baneling Nest would be pretty sick, but he is not going to be able to do so. That base denial, though, is really, really nice. Oh, wow, these Liberators, too.
15 SCVs actually died at that base, but 7 drones as well.
And he's got the Marines over here. 8 men with guns. Getting it done. And then dying. Hydras are here. Goodbye.
Medvac might go as well, but here comes the big push. Now, Jon Snow's won a couple of fights, and the harass has been okay for Drunken Boy, but keep a look at, look at his army. It's so Marine heavy that against Ultras, they take massive damage. If any Infestors come out here, or just a bad fight that he stands up into anyways, the AoE of the Zerg army is insane.
Feels very Wings of Liberty in that way, right? It's just been, I'm going to kill you with Marine tank, and it's not something that we see as much of these days. We get a lot more focus on the Marauders, but he's just going to, oh my goodness, that's a lot to fight against. Not too much to deal with the Banelings here. The tank tries to siege up front, will immediately die. Does have the Planetary to fall back to, but this command center, not going to be able to land. There's a Hydralisk burrowed underneath it as well, so.
Yeah, he can't take that base. It's just not going to happen. And you can kind of see Drunken Boy, in my opinion, petering off here a little bit, right? Like, he was doing great in the assault, the harass phase. But now that it's time to fight maxed out armies, and big Nidus Canal, by the way, going down. Oh, that's a mistake.
Wow, okay, Vipers just get grabbed there. Yeah, Drunken Boy feels like he came in this with a lot of energy, and he just like threw everything he had at him. And then he's like, whoo, it's been a while since I've been playing on this type of stage. I'm a little tired. And we're seeing him, yeah, the steam is starting to show a little bit.
10 Corruptors. The Greater Spire's finishing up. And I love the Nidus. This is something that's so underrated. If you look at the map, you don't see a whole lot of vision in the way of getting into Drunken Boy's base, so I'm not sure. Maybe it's to reinforce across the board. That would be a cool use of it as well.
Could try to do something with these Burrowed Lings if he sees a window of opportunity open.
Yeah.
He'll probably need to like toss an Ultra or two into one of these bases and like force him to select all army. Ultras. Oh yeah, Ultralisks are frenzied. How about that?
They don't slow down in there.
They don't. Ultralisks cannot be slowed.
They move too powerfully.
Can you imagine that? Like, there's just like this field that literally slows everything but you. You're just like, nope. God.
And that army is marching back and forth. You can see on the minimap it's kind of posturing to go after one of these new bases. It's looking to be the central one with the Corruptors here. Can't even float to be safe. Meanwhile, a double medevac drop.
Well, hey, he shuts down the Infestation Pit, and he's going to be able to kill the Greater Spire right before it completes, so no Broodlords. And actually, just getting onto the tech in general. That's a really sick pickup. All right, Corruptors, it's time to pee on that Planetary Fortress. Oh, okay, actually, Ghosts are going to do some work. He's like, I'll just trade them out for all your air units. Maybe Jon Snow's thinking to himself, well, it's going to be so long before I get a Greater Spire. I just want to free some more supply. I don't know.
He's going to knock on that main and natural. Liberator's relocating.
This is where getting a unit that he can burrow behind lines for like a Nidus later would be sick.
I think he's just going to win the game. He's got bigger...
That works too.
Bigger designs.
Yeah.
This base is overran, and he is destroying it. The army is just 80 supply for Drunken Boy, and it's kind of spread out. It's going to come over here now. But it's suspiciously not, it has no Marines. It has like only a couple of Ghosts. So the Corruptors are like, I guess we'll just kill all the medevacs, and if there's Liberators that show up, we'll kill those too. Not bad.
Yeah. And we see the Marauders off creep can still go to town on the Ultralisks. But wow, there's a Baneling line there too. So yeah, Jon Snow just did a really good job of reeling this one back after the... Took quite a few heavy blows from Drunken Boy. I think this was a really well played game on both sides, but Drunken Boy just ran out of gas. Yeah. That's how it feels.
I definitely agree. And Jon Snow's waiting for that killing blow. If he makes his way into the natural in production, that'll be it. There's nothing else for Terran.
He does still have the Nidus network available if he wants to get the even faster reinforcements his opponent's base. He burrowed Lings under like everything as well. Just crossed all his T's and dotted all his I's.
Love it. Liberators will go ahead and push back the Ultras. That base can hold on. That's all it's got going for it for right now. There is no bank for Drunken Boy, and he's fallen down to almost below 100 supply. Meanwhile, Jon Snow, I guess the other thing to add here is Jon Snow is only on 5, going on 6 bases.
His first 3 should be like completely mined out, right, I guess?
Yeah, so if Drunken Boy can somehow stabilize, which is a pretty distant if, I'm being a bit of a caster right now, and then like have the X Factor, which would be like the Liberators or something, he could maybe do something here.
Yeah.
Maybe not, though. It feels like not.
Maybe not. Corruptors can just, yeah, there we go. Caustic Spray, Ultralisks.
Yeah, it feels
SCV's
like
dying. And now everything he has is just choked up on that right side planetary, where he's basically said, yeah, you can't really break this because there's not enough surface area for you to get on top of it.
But the Corruptors always can, I think, right?
The Corruptors can just go Caustic Spray that, yeah.
Nothing sadder than watching Liberators shoot Corruptors. You need so many to make that work at all.
Yeah, well, especially if Zerg gets any like air, the Flyer Carapace, then it's really sad. Technically, well, he's got +1 ship weapons, and there's no air Carapace, so the Liberators suck a little less than normal. But then you remember, hey, Parasitic Bomb's a thing. That will also help kill the Liberators.
Yeah. And Jon Snow has eaten up the natural. And like Nate said earlier, it's just that right side base, which it's been mined for a while, and now Zerglings are on top of the main. This should be the killing blow. Once that production is under assault, Liberators can dislodge it, yeah. If he's not paying attention, he could just burrow as well or move him away. But Drunken Boy's holding on here. He's having his moment.
That burrow.
Love it. I love that he's playing that way. We don't see that enough.
I mean, he's really stretching this. And that's the only reason why I'm going to say this for like the 20th time. I just want to see him use the Nidus. Might as well, right? Drop the hammer. Is this how he's going to do it? Is that an Overseer at the top?
Yeah.
This is what he wanted. Because the Lings don't give me vision. The Overseer gives me vision.
Oh. We'll never get there, because this fight is not going to go... Yeah, exactly.
GG. Well played. Jon Snow holds on. Really well played. Like early, mid-game. Our Drunken Boy, his Hellion drop did a little bit of damage, nothing crazy, but he got his upgrades, he got his production going really fast, he got that 4th base really fast, and you pointed this out, he did a really good job of clearing the creep, but past that first like Marine take push, yeah, like the first thing you pointed out was he didn't rally behind it, he didn't reinforce, so he couldn't follow up, and then everything just seemed slower past that point. Like he was going really fast, and then like he got tired is what it looked like.
Yeah. Felt like a lot of his momentum was built off of that kind of 5 or 6 tank army as well, and for it to just get clumped up and cleaned up in a otherwise kind of sloppy engagement from Jon Snow. Like he wrapped around with 2 prongs of his attack, but none of it was really good. The Viper won the fight.
Yeah.
If the Viper's not there, the fight goes horrifically. But because the Viper was there, it ends up being a win for Jon Snow. But from that point forward, it felt like Drunken Boy never really had a clear picture of how we wanted to actually eliminate a base, not just siege it and kind of put pressure on it, but actually eliminate it. And he just kind of defended until he died. And Jon Snow showed us the army comp that we haven't seen a whole lot of, which is Ultralisk, which is pretty cool as a battering ram. But a good game from Drunken Boy, like you said, up until the mid-game, and then it just fell off, and we need to see more of a finish there.
Yep. That awareness is really important. It's so odd because Jon Snow was taking that hatchery in the top left when he was going to make that push out with all those tanks that you were describing.
Yeah.
So you'd normally think, like, if he wasn't trying to take that base there was no creep, it wasn't next to the base, right? You'd think, okay, I'll wait back by the creep spread, wait for him to try to kill my tumors, surround him there. But I will try to play a little devil's advocate and just be like, from Drunken Boy's perspective, he would not have expected the Zerg to try and engage him there so far away from any creep. And that was, I think it was like a panic siege, right? He's just like, oh my God, I need to siege my units. I'm being attacked, like, whoa. And then the Blinding Clouds of Destiny happened, and there she blows.
I think you're right. But I was a kid raised on the X-Files. You know what they taught me? Expect the unexpected.
I've never seen that show. I'm sorry.
Are you serious? You don't know the name Dana Scully and Fox Mulder? You don't know those guys?
No.
Man.
I'm sorry.
There's no age excuse here, too. It's still being brought. It's such a good show, Nate. You need to enrich your life. It's okay.
Was it the same guy from Twister? The
What?
tornado movie?
No.
Okay. I
That's
thought
the
someone
Jurassic
looked
Park
familiar. Is it?
David Duchovny is in Californication. I mean, he's known as Fox Mulder. He's the X-Files.
Huh. I've never watched that. I think I've seen a few memes, so I have like a picture in my mind of who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
gotta step it up, I guess.
You do. Jon Snow, in Game 2 here, is going to go pool first, which is not a bad read. He is a man accustomed to the nudist run through a cornfield backwards. He's aware of what can happen. Drunken Boy, though, is not yielding. He's going to play the honorable path and build most of his buildings within the circumference of his starting location.
Yeah, very admirable of him, to say the
Yeah.
least. And he'll even SCV scout as a show that he does not want to have too much resources or too little
Information.
resource of information. Yeah.
Very good, Nate. Look at these two players tipping their hats at each other and saying, "Monsieur."
Yeah. I mean, we might as well make the WCS NA trophy just a bronze fedora.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's NA, so we obviously it won't be gold, but
No. Low ground CC going up behind this with the Reaper. So just very standard. And kind of always talk about this, but like with the pool first, is that a huge sacrifice to the economy of Zerg? No. We used to think it was this crazy, crazy thing, but it really just hasn't been.
wasn't it Dario that did that too? TLO had like this whole thing during the Reaper cheese era where he's like, I've calculated it. If you go pool first, the extra queen, it equalizes in lava after 3 minutes, so it's not even that bad.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, okay, yeah, if I think I'm going to get cheese, I'll just go pool first because it actually isn't this huge economic loss that everybody thought it could be. What is, though, is having the command center delayed, so this cheeky little Ling side swipe gets a decent bit of damage done. Of course, it pulls the Reaper back, which, I mean, you build the Reaper to defend against it, but having the command center delayed by any stretch always sucks. So he's just going to
Yeah,
have
but
to
it's
get
good for
back to
Terran,
that.
right? Like, we're not going to sit here and say that was good for Zerg, are we? It's not the worst thing. Like, those Lings don't do much on the other side of the map.
I think it's like a net zero type scenario.
All right.
It's like I delayed your CC a little bit. I lost all my Lings, but outside of that, the Reaper's shouldn't be able to do anything.
You know what I just realized when you say that? Net
What?
Zero is an internet service provider.
From what, the 90s?
It's just out there, and I'm realizing how, like, incredibly mediocre they name themselves. They're like, listen,
We have no
Not the best.
we have
Not
enough
the worst.
positives to justify our negatives.
if you sign up with us,
Yeah.
you'll just have internet. Like, I don't care. It's not the best.
Sometimes you'll be happy, sometimes you'll be sad, and we're not going to hide that from you.
That's interesting. It's kind of like naming your son, like, David. Like,
Yeah.
does David go off?
Look, you have the potential to be an NPC or a hero. Those are your choices, right? John, there you go.
I don't know. That's what my point is, that there's no chance to be a hero.
Okay, yeah, I
You're
guess.
just going to be an NPC.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
And not even one of the really important ones. Just like, you can go talk to them. Is there a side quest with you? And they're like, no. Just flavor. You're like,
I'm
okay.
just here. I have a flavor text that updates every expansion. That's
Exactly.
it.
I noticed at nighttime you change your clothes. That's a cool additional thing in the game that's only
Yeah.
shown off through your NPC. And like, yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, there's a cutscene where my model is used because of budget reasons in a snowy area, so I have a hat on there.
Wow. All right, so a little bit of a poke here from Drunken Boy. This is what he's known for. Now, the question we kind of posed in that last game is it was great. Drunken Boy looked amazing in the first half of that last game.
The Reaper grenade almost saved those Hellions.
I would say even leading if you can kill that base with that push, but this does get cleaned up, and with that, a little bit of the map control goes away because that was not like 2 of 6 or actually, as I say that, it is actually 2 of would have been 6 Hellions. There's more behind this.
Okay.
It's just the same thing though. There's no fault. There's no timing here. He's just gonna play macro.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. It's nice that he has those Hellions, though, because if the Baneling Nest is done 20 seconds sooner, I think especially you're playing an NA, you throw your Hellions away,
Yeah.
you're basically saying, I'm probably getting all my infrastructure up and not building tanks, because nobody rushes tanks in TVZ unless you deliberately think you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Please come kill me with Banelings. And it happens all the time. It's always fun to run your Hellions in and try to get some massive damage done, but
It must be a ladder thing though, because I have not seen it in any WCSs. Not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying It must be a pretty high-risk, high-reward thing, right? Like, if
Yeah.
the Baneling bust goes well, you win. Obviously, that's great. But a lot of times, it must just run into those Hellions or Banshees, which we see
You
a
used
lot.
to see it a lot more back in the day. That's
Yeah.
definitely true. I would say I still see it on ladder a decent bit, and when I watch like Terran streamers, like you see it, but I don't
Not
see any
news, yes.
Koreans. I don't see any Koreans try to do stuff that crazy. I guess a guy like True would have done stuff like that.
Probably still is, yeah.
Yeah,
He's,
he's probably the guy that still does that.
he's always qualifying for GSL. He's just doing off-stream, usually.
Yep.
That's Trust True Games, rather. Okay, so Drunken Boy just trying to get some little bit of map control. He did a really good job of fighting back the creep in that last game, too. That's a kind of underrated thing that he was doing quite well.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. He had a huge lane that led straight to his opponent's base outside of the slow zones. He could just go straight over to that fourth. But King's Cove is a very good map defensively, especially for that third base and that natural, right? You have that crazy small choke point, so a lot of it becomes about trying to get to that fourth, and the creep spread's pretty... Well, you've got quite a few directions to go in for the creep spread, but I guess generally you're going to end up where you want to expand, right? So that middle base becomes a pretty nice candidate considering the coverage around it as the Hellions come out here and try to poke, but the Queens are there to tell them to bugger off. And Hydralisk upgrades are going to start up now. So we're seeing a very similar direction from both players moving into this game.
Pretty
It's
quick
just gonna be
infestation pit, though, right?
Marine tank. Yeah, I think he just wants to go right to Hive. It's like he had the Vipers out at a pretty decent time. Even in that push where we talked about him needing his reinforcements, he did better there, but the Vipers were already out.
It is good. I feel like it specifically weakens himself against this timing right here. And I think one of the things that, like, you know, not to harp too much on this, but if Drunken Boy doesn't reinforce this in his over concern with a counter attack, then this attack just doesn't feel like it has the punch to it. Like 3 tanks and a handful of Marines, does that finish a Zerg? Maybe if you're like a lot better than them. But I feel like you have to deal with the waves of the Zerg, and that's where the reinforcements come in play. So we'll have to see if he goes for that type of play. As once again, he takes a very nice position. He's challenging this fourth. He's got a good spread. The Banelings show up. They're going to have a tough go at clearing out this Bioforce, but I like that Jon Snow circling around for a flank.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, this is one of the things when we talk up Jon Snow a lot, and this is a funny contrast, to be honest, like commentating him, because it's not surprising. Okay, he's going to go in for this surround. The Banelings come in from the north and the south sides. There's just not really a whole lot that can be done here. Great execution. But to my point, Jon Snow looks really good in a game like this, and we don't always get to show how good he is because some of the other players that he'll run up against in these WCS tournaments are at such a high level that some viewers might walk away from it being like, wow, Jon Snow got clowned by Neeb. Like, what is even going on? Well, how did this guy even qualify? But then you're like, well, Drunken Boy is a top NA Grandmaster player, and Jon Snow's kind of clapping him at, you know, in the way that last game ended up. Despite how much Drunken Boy lost, though,
He's up.
the words of Johan Merlo echo in my mind.
Look-a-dee. Look-a-dee.
Su pla I.
But that is a fast Hive. And Adrenaline already kicking in. Ultra's Cavern going down.
That's the benefit of surviving that, right? By going for that. You mentioned it, that kind of created a window going for the infestation pit that fast. But if you survive it, find yourself in a pretty nice spot. Ooh.
Yeah. And it killed just about nothing. Yeah. I mean, that is what it will happen when you're a very drop/harass-oriented player. You're going to have some of those ugly drops. So he's still up in supply. That's the kind of funny thing about that. It was 20 supply dead and dusted for just about nothing, but at the end of the day, it's okay.
Yeah, most important thing is securing this fourth base right now. Jon Snow doesn't have a fifth. He's just now taking it. Being on even bases with the Zerg, I think, is really important. So he's trying to set up a Baneling mine. He does
I
have
am
Burrow.
super concerned. Drunken Boy stylistically is making 7 Marines at a time and 1 Marauder. So you're almost seeing no Marauders whatsoever. And Ultras are specifically very good in this scenario. So Drunken Boy losing a few units to this Ling counterattack. I love that from Jon Snow. But also it's buying more time before the Terran gets to a spot where the army is any kind of scary, where it's mostly Marines. So when the Ultras show up, if they just want to have a stand-up fight, the Ultras will win every day. Love the burrowing, by the way. It keeps working.
Yep. It's done very well for him.
Again, a lack of missile turrets, by the way. If you build a missile turret too, you have detection, Terran players.
Yep.
Did you not know that?
Missile turrets are great, Jeff. Missile turrets are great.
Yeah, and sensor towers.
And sensor towers.
Okay.
I guess because he's like, well, it's not muted. Is Jon Snow just playing like this? I'm just going to swallow you when you step on creep style. Ugh.
Oh my god.
When you siege the tanks while your army is dying. That's hashtag just daring things.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, okay, so some good Liberator play from Drunken Boy, but that's about it.
Drones.
Every time he goes out to fight, it's the army getting completely evaporated, and it's... I don't know. I think that's his wall that he's hitting right now. I don't want to keep going on the storyline that he just came back, because I don't know that that's true. Well, but it feels like he's experiencing something without a lot of experience, I guess.
He's added a bunch of extra barracks this game rather than trying to switch into like more starports. So he can now build 4 Marauders at a time. I would like to see him still get the Ghost Academy because obviously those synergize very well. He already has the Barrack to Tech Labs. But yeah, good scans too, trying to avoid mainly landmines. So that threat is very real, but I don't see how he's going to be able to crack this open. No, well, you're right. He did get the Tech Labs, but he doesn't have the Marauders yet. So if he tries to fight with this many Marines versus this many Ultras, it's going to hurt. It's going to be painful.
Also just tanks and bio. Like, there's no Widow Mines, there's no anything else, right? Like, tanks are okay, but as the game goes, the defensive abilities get better. Ultras tanks just fine, and then he's kiting backwards in a losing battle. He's trading, and again, if he's doing something behind this, so like 2 or 3 starports worth of Liberators and over-expanding with planetaries, like, I can get behind this because these are trades, but if there's nothing really moving the needle behind this, then he's just losing units, and Jon Snow's army is getting more and more ultra-dense because they're not dying.
Well, he's going to fly 2
my god.
straight into a bunch of Hydras. The fact that after every one of these fights, my instinct is to Luca di Supply.
Yeah.
And it's actually still really close. Like, Drunken Boy's like ahead a couple, and he's not even broke.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
man,
you are so close to being there. You know what I mean?
Medivacs
like,
don't cost supply. I don't know if you knew that.
There's so much going right here.
Every time you drop a mule, it farts out 3 medevacs for free. You just get them.
Do they though?
Every time they die, full of units, I look. Man, he must have lost 40 supply. You look down. It's the same. What happened?
Did you know it's not possible to have a full medevac? To have a medevac with units in it with be more than 10 supply? That's the real struggle.
That's kind of cool. Just kind of, though.
Yeah, well, it's either 8 Marines or 4 Marauders, which is 8 supply plus the 2 from the medevac. So I'm like, he should be, because I feel the same way, right? Like, he loses 2 medevacs. I'm like, he should be down like 20 or 30 supply. Nope, same. I'm like, what? But I digress. Gets an Infestor, then the Infestors get a Fungal, and another one.
And then they all die.
Goodbye. And then the Ultras. The Ultraless flank! They came from behind!
And in front, and to the side, and Jon Snow is everywhere. The only thing that makes this game interesting and close for me is that Jon Snow's not really expanding.
Oh my god, is he going to run the Ultras out through the Liberator?
Yeah, a little bit of harass behind on the bases. The fights are still kind of going back and forth. Jon Snow is up in supply, but that's not the biggest of deals. And there's the Liberator going back to work on his drones. Again, you add like 2 or 3 more expansions to Drunken Boy if he's expanding behind this, and he can. There's no army over there. I'm not being weird as a caster. I'm like, he actually he could. And he's floating one now. Then I really like his position. And it's still okay.
There is a Ling
Oh my god.
the spot that he wants to take right now. These Ultras, why is he running through? This is Miss Rally. It has to be.
No. I mean, maybe. I hope. No. Stop.
How?
Yeah. You open to chapter 7 of Sun Tzu's book on war. Grab your big units. Exactly.
If you see a white ring of death, step into it.
Okay,
Embrace
so that was
your
good.
enemy.
And then the Corruptors, by the way, again, there's like no answer for this. It's the Marines. Stop it.
3 Marines trying to kill 3
Stop
Corruptors.
shooting those.
Lol.
And he's not really repositioning them, so they'll just lose them all, I guess. But the nice thing is Jon Snow is walking everything through it to try and make them worthwhile.
He's like, how many liberation zones can I walk through before I throw this game?
Yeah.
I think we're finding the answer, actually, because the bank versus supply is starting to tilt in Drunken Boy's favor. Can't believe I just said that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good amount of those Ultralisks. Actually, they're pretty much all dead. The only 2 that remain walked through a bunch of Liberator fields. They have sub 100 health. So bring
Yep.
the queens out. Bring the queens out.
I can actually see Drunken Boy winning this now, which is crazy.
Yeah. This one flipped on its head pretty fast. He's
Well,
in
it's not over
Liberator range,
yet.
too.
He doesn't have a good answer for Corruptors, like at all. Right now it's just Marines, I guess is what he's saying. But the Marines die pretty quick in all these fights, right? They're the softest part of the battle.
Yeah. Is he going to get a Ghost Academy this game? Nope, still no Ghost Academy. Liberator range will be nice, I guess. If he gets enough Liberators, he might feel better about going more into Marines. Okay, Ghost Academy starts right now. I was going to say he might feel better about going into more Marines in that scenario if he has enough Liberators to feel comfortable against the, you know, Ultralisks. And he keeps doing this where he sends out the 2 Banelings he wants to burrow, by the way, and then he doesn't burrow them, and he just like dies right there, tragically. 3 Ghost Academies. So he wants to take us on a ride to Nuke City.
Nuketown, you could even say.
Nuketown, yeah. I believe that one is actually, you know what? It's trademarked by this company. Never mind, we're good.
We can talk about it. You can buy it on the Blizzard launcher.
It's officially a part of the lore.
Okay. A couple of medevacs randomly peeling off to go do their first drop in 6 minutes. And then the rest of that Bioforce can get to the middle of the map. And this is the big question. Drunken Boy's got himself in a pretty nice spot. Can he finish from here? And he's going to push out. He knows he's facing Vikings, or excuse me, Infestors, not Vikings.
Yeah, one fungal can undo everything that we've talked about for the last 6 minutes as he has slowly clawed his way back into this game. 2 medevacs don't fly straight into Hydras, but do they unload? They do. There we go. Gets a little bit of pressure in the main base now. Buys himself a bit of time to fall back, but he should see that Greater Spire. And obviously he knows there's Corruptors on the map, so waiting for a couple of alarm bells to go off.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. I need ghosts, and I need... Yeah, ghosts. A lot of ghosts. The nukes will be nice, though, because he's, I think he's already got... He doesn't have any yet. He has 2 building, but he has 3 Ghost Academies, so he can get some pretty heavy artillery to try and stretch out this increasingly immobile Zerg army.
Yeah, but it's going to be nukes and ghosts. He's upgrading air attack, but he's not getting anything for that, so he's kind of posturing to do something about it. And again, he's kind of doing this like old school expand style where it's like you take a base, you start mining it, and then after quite a bit of time, you start thinking about taking another base. And I think that philosophy is going to serve him pretty poorly because you were talking about Banks. He's still at sub 1,000 and he's approaching max, but we're about the 20-minute mark. And Jon Snow's made that adjustment, right? Like he's about max, but he's got 2K, and he's already finishing up his final army. So it's like he's the one that can lose a battle and then show up with another big maxed army, whereas Drunken Boy is not really approaching that category yet.
Yeah, that's very true. Interested to see if he'll use the Nidus this game as it finishes up now.
Yeah.
It's delicate because ghosts are really ghosts kill everything that Zerg has, but they're purely opportunistic in terms of like their utility because you have to be able to take a fight without taking any damage. You have to get the initiate on an unsuspecting opponent, or you need to have a ridiculous amount of cover. So actually, really good grab there. Just that handful of units.
And here comes the nukes. The other base is queued up as well.
Yep. And what we've learned about nukes in competitive StarCraft as they've seen increased usage in late game TVZ over the last year has been they're less about I'm going to nuke you and blow up your stuff and more about I'm going to, as we said earlier, the DDoS reference, I'm going to just drop nukes constantly until you just can't handle all of it and one of them slips through and then it's like everything starts to fall apart.
Well, both players are slowing down here.
Most Terrans are fine to drop 10 nukes. As long as one of them is a good one, it's all worth it.
2 more Ghost Academies, by the way.
Yep. He's going to have a huge cache of nukes. He's getting that ghost count up, too. He's got 22 ghosts.
The army has gone special. Special forces.
Yep. He's got the Covert Ops ghost skin. The one from the Nova single-player missions.
Now, it looks like Jon Snow is fixing to put this to the test. So he's shoving forward. And that anti-air question is now ghosts in a couple of Vikings, just not really any significant number there that I can see. 5 more ghosts queued up.
Overseer swinging around the bottom side. Yeah, ghosts are nice. Ghosts are nice. Tanks are a little bit scary in terms of the friendly fire because their zoning capabilities are a little bit limited. It's so funny. I guess with this many ghosts, I really could just kill the Nidus with them, but good shutdown there. Would have liked to see the Nidus try in the main first.
Yeah,
but
can't now though.
2 Marauders will deal with it. Don't even need to stim them. Getting building armor at long last. Been waiting for that. That's a good one. It's gonna sound really weird, but I like a little bit of bunker spam when you're doing ghost memes instead of the tanks. So you can just, because the friendly fire is huge. Oh my god, all of those snipes.
His own radius. Why would you?
Nice.
Just outside the radius.
Yep.
Safe.
Yep, and the units are allowed to go straight through that area again. No lasting damage. I think it's only, what, 3.6 Runkin? Basically chest X-ray. No problem.
From this nuke?
Yeah.
Nothing too severe.
Nothing in life will teach you how long 20 seconds is more than trying to drop a nuke in StarCraft 2.
Well, he just put an
Oh
incredible amount of drones.
Oh my god, it worked!
Oh no. God. Jon Snow went down to 47 workers, losing 35 at one base. Yikes! And he makes 18 corruptors off of that.
Yeet. I love it.
This is a good nuke too. You see how there's text in the nuke there on the side?
There's an alert for it, yeah.
The queen. Maybe not now. Oh, wait. Okay, let me put my tumors down.
Yeah.
Dude, this ghost army is ferocious. It's basically just the infestors that are an answer to this, and even then it's a it's a back and forth.
There's like a few things that people have done as like their anti-mass ghost meme, and it's like the mass baneling stuff. Like we've seen Dark do it in GSL, but I think with the way that this defense is set up, it's gonna be it's very hard to actually get the Banes on that. Because as this, usually what happens is all your tanks eventually die, and I think the way that Dark did it was he literally built like 100 Banelings and just move commanded through, and there's just not enough. Even with like 30 ghosts and like 10 liberators, you still, as long as you kill the ghosts, like it's not really replaceable. Drunken Boy couldn't replace all of his ghosts with the bank that he has. 3K, like you could build a good amount of ghosts with that, but he's got like somewhere around 30, 32, yeah. Oh, those snipes. Oof. Wow, okay.
Funny enough, he killed a couple of Broodlords, yes, but he actually just mostly wounded all of them. So
this is really his master plan is working though. Jon Snow's he's not banking any gas anymore, and his economy's been hurt a bit, but like that gas is really the most important thing in a end game scenario where usually you face the wrath of the fact that the map has more minerals than gas on it. A Zerg player who can only build Zerglings is usually a dead Zerg. A Terran player who can only build Marines, well, Marines are pretty damn good.
This base is dead, and the Liberators are going to die. It's again just about the ghosts.
14 Broodlords.
This game ends if they get fungled and Banelings. They're going to EMP all of the Infestors though, so that's not happening today. A couple of fungals do land, but here come the Banelings looking to score hits.
Not enough.
Nope.
Not even close to enough.
He's going to have to pull back.
As long as he has like that handful of Marines and Marauders to literally just get hit by Broodlings so that the Ghosts can get their steady targeting off, he's fine. He's Gucci. Of course, you can't attack with this army. So all Drunken Boy can really do is just sit back and let Jon Snow suicide into him, which is working because you talked about this, but when he got that massive nuke on all those drones, he didn't rebuild the drones. He's only got 39. So yeah, he's got this super army, but when you can't attack the Terran and you don't have any economy or bank, it's like, I don't know. As long as he keeps attacking Drunken Boy, I don't see any way that Jon Snow can win this game, as dumb as that sounds.
Well,
the ghosts are just terrible once they move out. But
Jon Snow has 2 bases that, yes, got annihilated by nukes, but as long as he begins to saturate them and just mine off of it, he's got 2 full bases up there.
Well,
whereas if you look at Drunken Boy's position, he has to fight tooth and nail to get to a base to take, and he's actually not mining much except for that 6 o'clock base right now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but to build those drones, he has to get rid of some of this. He has to like make a little bit of a commitment somewhere with his not gas units.
Yeah, Ling's
This I really like. Okay, yeah, this is good. If you get into the production here, that's really big. The ghosts are way out of position. I think he's just taking really good opportunity of this. Yeah, he sees the ghosts are all the way on the west side of the map. And he's like, this is the perfect opportunity. If I can get onto the racks, get a little bit of work done here, that's really, really big. If the Corruptors are still here when the ghosts get back, yeah, we're going to see them all die, though. And he cannot replace them, so.
He just burrows. Love it. Go ahead
Is
and
he in on the
scan.
production? Burrow 1 Ling. And don't forget. Okay, well, he's already actually tried the Nidus, but yeah, when that big Terran army moves out, then do it. Take advantage. Really helpful that he got building armor there, by the way.
Yeah.
Those Lings, it scales. It scales stupid well, upgrades for and against them. With how fast they attack, especially with that adrenal glands. 62 more Lings on the way, too. So
And this
he's
army can
recognizing-
snap off an expansion by with the ghost that far out,
Yeah.
and the infestor's lurking somewhere. So here come the ghosts. You obviously
Ooh.
can't corrupt that base. No way. But he's going to kill the left side easy.
Oh my god. Well, one fungal's not enough. Ugh. Is he gonna get the next one?
No!
Oh! Okay, he peels off a little
That's
bit.
the whole game for Drunken Boy. So he
All the
EMPs him again,
infestors.
but oh my god.
Well, I think there's... Okay, he's building 10 more infestors. Good lord. He did have 8 fungals, I was gonna say. If you get rid of all the infestors, then you can YOLO snipe to your heart's content. 15 infestors, plus 4 on the way. 11 broodlords, and 10 corruptors.
Yeah.
With a good, a healthy smattering of Lings and a few Banelings.
A few Banelings, he says. Check that tab again, my man.
Well, he just finished a bunch. Yeah, 24.
24.
It's
Which
gonna
is the
sound
Jack
dumb.
Bauer number.
It's gonna sound dumb, but I don't think 24 is actually even close to enough.
You idiot.
I just don't. I don't believe it.
No, I don't know.
That
Probably
planetary
right.
fortress, 40 damage AOE, baby. Oh, one shot of Cloud Veins.
Make 1,000. I don't care.
I actually think that the right thing to do is to actually try to get just a stupid number of Banelings and try to get the YOLO opportunity. But
For
I don't
free?
play Xerxes.
Okay. Sure.
He's gonna nuke the top right base. We're gonna see 4 drones die. Nice.
Nailed
There's
it.
my crawl.
I knew you calling that out.
Yeah, so that was the pinnacle of my StarCraft casting career
That's
before I
it?
went back to a life of mediocrity. Ooh!
Why
That's a good grab.
so forward? Such a risk with the MPs. I love this forward spore crawler,
Oh
actually.
my god, that nuke. Opportunity.
No.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
I didn't, oh yeah, he did have the
It's just like when you watch a YouTube video of someone like at the edge of a cliff, like looking over. That feeling when a Zerg slowly is making its way to kill the ghost that's shooting the nuke. I'm like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like-
but what if it still gets off?
It's like one of those. There's like there's a whole like category or stuff like that. Like the no, yes, or. Well, the Vikings are all going to get grabbed here. A small contingent of the ghosts. I think 1 or 2 of them die, so that's even not too bad there. I'm just amazed that I haven't actually seen a game like this of StarCraft in a while because of how short so many of the like high-level games are these days. But like 35 ghosts. Whew.
Yeah.
This is a trip.
It's been fun. And in 10 minutes, we're going to have to rotate Roddy in here to tag in another commentator, actually.
Yep.
We're going to do it in shifts now.
Yep, Casters Union, because this game is never going to end. I was about to say, 10 minutes from now would be when we finished yesterday, and we're only on the second match,
oh my
Jeff.
god.
We're only
Good
on
thing
the
my
second.
flight's at 9:45. I planned for
Yeah,
this.
I can't believe you guys tried to make dinner plans. Did you think you weren't going straight to the airport from here, Jeff? Oh, these ghosts. No fungal. Ah!
You can also manually execute Banelings. Isn't that amazing? They have detonator buttons.
Yeah. Do you
called
think it's
X.
like an actual button on the Baneling itself?
Yeah, it's like it's right behind it's at the base of their skull, and they just like thumb it,
Nice.
blow up.
So Banelings have thumbs too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you don't see it. They just tuck it in when they roll.
Ah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Wow, he just sniped half the infestors, looks like.
Jon Snow's supply is quite low. There
Yeah.
he goes.
Well, he never really went back to having an economy. Like, he built some drones, but he gave up after a while on having a lot. He's like, I'd rather just have a huge army supply, but
Yeah, he's just kind of doing one base at a time. He's taking his time up there, Jon Snow.
He is going to very slowly crawl his way back up to 200. And these Marines are just going to run up.
How many nukes have we had?
We have... It doesn't really say. Nukes don't get counted under units lost.
What? Really?
Nope. Kills 15 SCVs there, but he has 5 nukes in storage at the moment. But
I wish you could make physical nukes, and there's like multiple methods, like an SCV could carry one. Imagine in a fight, it's just like YOLOing with a nuke running forward.
That would be fun. Yeah, give him the football. This game, we have 38,000 to 40,000 resources lost in minerals, and 16,000 gas to 15,000.
Yeah.
Favoring Drunken Boy just barely, but it's been a crazy close, intense game.
Oh, this drone's just gonna pop out to die. Yeah.
Not hide inside the proverbial refrigerator.
When Mount St. Helens erupted, by the way, they went around because they knew it was going to erupt. They went around to everyone living in and near the mountain and said, "Hey, this place is going to go. You got to get out of here." And famously, I think it was 2 households, both of which were like old guys, of course. They were like, "Hey, this mountain is going to erupt," and they got to him and they were like, "This is my home." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's a volcano. It's gonna explode. It's a terrible death." And he's like, "Yeah, that's fine. This is my home," and they stayed there.
Huh.
That's what that drone reminded me of. Because he pulled all the other drones. This one's like, "No, I'm a gas miner." He's like, "Dude, a nuke's coming."
It's not worth your life. He's like, "Yeah, well, maybe I won't die."
This is what I do.
It's like, I don't want to go somewhere else. This is where it ends. This is
Story
where it
will
ends.
never happen with me involved. You'll never hear the tale of like, "Jeff, this place is going to turn into lava." I'll be like, "Yeah, I'm out. Let's." What do you got, a helicopter? Like, "Yeah, but it's your home. Do you care?" I'm like, "Oh, I care. It sucks, but I'm out of here."
Yeah,
Let me grab my computer. My Warlord Titan.
Yeah.
This
40
left side
carry
base
one.
can't happen, by the way, and the right side. If Drunken Boy gets 2 expansions somehow, like he's mining gas right now, it's ridiculous that Jon Snow cannot let that happen. Because as you've been pointing out, yes, he's maxed, but his money income is terrible. It's just not significant.
Jon Snow is mining 100 gas a minute right now, versus 650 for Drunken Boy.
Those are like pro gamer numbers.
Yeah.
He needs to get up to caster level where it's like 6,000 to 7,000 times those numbers.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And a couple of ghosts kind of sloppily die in there. Nuke pushes him back. That's fine. But he really can't let this go. And this is the part of these kind of games that really bother me. And I know that's easier said than done from my position, but it's like the game's in the balance at this point. There's a lot of Zergs. Scarlet kills me every time. She'll play, but she's like playing for like, it's the hour 7 where I'm going to strike, and it's like, oh my god. But in this case, if he just has 2 expansions and Jon Snow's like, well,
I think Drunken Boy's got this game. Like, he needs to make a huge mistake to lose from this position. He has so many ghosts. He has those 2 mining bases that we talked about. All right, he's going to try and get rid of one of them here. But even that, he's going to burn. He's going to have to burn, like, yeah, the Banelings that will need to go in there. Thankfully, there was no
so good he got it, though.
Drunken Boy. Yeah, very important that he killed that base.
It's relatively inexpensive the way he did it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's still a planetary, so I'm not disagreeing with what you said, but it's just like the whole army would otherwise have to be over there. I just wish he would have used that time to really put pressure on the left side with this big Broodlord army.
Yeah, would have been nice.
Look at them like
I
contesting.
just don't think he can attack with this many ghosts, especially since he's constantly throwing zoning nukes out as well. And like, if one of those nukes lands, his game is over. If he gets one good nuke, everything dies.
Then a queen makes her way over there. She's like, "Well, I probably lay some tumors there. There used to be some, but they got nuked."
Let's go put some more down. And then he loses the base that he had in the top right. Most unfortunate. And then we get down, and here you guys can see what I was talking about earlier. When it comes down to who's just got mostly minerals. The Marines, pretty good deal. And all you've got is minerals. Against those Zerglings, heck yeah.
What do you think that's? I mean, it's got to be giggling.
Yeah, he's happy. Is this where you neuroparasite the SCV and build a Terran army? No, he doesn't have
Not the changelings. Watch them unzip. Even when they die from nuke. No, actually, they kind of evaporate.
No, I mean, they unzip, but it's just the animation
see
is
it.
too big, yeah.
Yeah.
Observer, can we turn the graphic settings down?
All right, let's check this one out. queens over here. I like my hatchery. Just
One ghost, one desire to drop a nuclear warhead on the enemy Zerg army. And 7 creep troopers killed. Noise.
6 SVs died somewhere though. Quietly. No one even cares. Typical. Workforce.
Another one. Not.
Okay, so finally Jon Snow's like, stop nuking me. He's going to push back over here. Because eventually you do have to do something. I think that's true.
You do eventually have to do something. He may have dinner plans tonight. We don't really know Jon Snow's personal life, to be honest. But
He's a handsome guy. He's almost always got dinner plans.
Yeah, exactly. He's the kind of guy that says, I can't wait to hang out with you. But, you know, he's actually got his entire schedule booked out for the next 3 months.
Yeah, he does.
He's not hanging out with you. He's too cool.
Some kind of college student at some point. Studied multiple subjects, unlike Artosis.
Yep.
He's done a whole bunch of things.
He can afford a phone call with Tasteless.
I mean, yeah, but that's what's interesting is that he doesn't. So it's like he can afford it, but
That's the ultimate flex of power. Is
Yeah,
not
exactly.
using it sometimes, right?
I have a pretty big engagement here, but at this point, I'm pretty certain it'll back off and cool
The
down.
Liberators are killing the Infestors that are trying to attack because the Corruptors are all dead.
That was such an expensive battle. But so many ghosts are dying.
And how many do we still got? 27 ghosts still.
Oh.
I'm indifferent.
And the army actually killed the top right-hand side and is going into
Other base.
the other base.
Getting the drones at this point is significantly more valuable. Jon Snow is broke. This is that part where I come in as like the snake oil salesman and I'm like, did you know that if you drop all your mules in the opponent's mineral patch when they're not there, you could actually just permanently deny them those resources, even if they kill the mules? Because like he's never going to mine that top base, but if he has the bottom left base secured and he has minerals, which he does, just aggressively mine out their bases.
This is interesting. The Hydra Ling stage for Jon Snow that's developing is quite powerful because it is just that ghost army, and they're so broke. Well, Drunken Boy's got 2,000 minerals, but he's...
I would build a bunch of bunkers, be perfectly honest. Like, if Drunken Boy secured his bases with a ton of bunkers, because there's so few, like, Banelings or Infestors that can be made at this point, might as well just shore up with the minerals that you have and make your Marines, you know,
Another orbital gonna die.
drive another 10 miles.
No, it's not.
It's close.
Just kill it.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's like John Wick, but there's like 30 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. He doesn't fall under the rule of ninjas or whatever.
No.
He does not fall off as you acquire more of them.
You know what?
Survive!
It won't.
Survive!
It won't.
No!
This is what it looks like when it... Oh,
Ah! Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum. No,
Thank you, Drunken Boy, and your effectiveness.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling SCVs and your stupid drilling cause. That one Zergling might actually still kill that command center though.
Yeah.
Oh, let me kill a Liberator. Lose 5 Corruptors.
That's her dead. So many ghosts.
Good grab. It's a good grab. Everybody's broke.
15 SCVs for Drunken Boy. But
still-
130 army supply. Oh, the fungals. They could be great. Huh. Do it! Huh.
Make your dreams come true.
Oh,
Finally get the big one and all the ghosts. They're
It has to be now. There's no
This
overseer.
is it.
There's no overseer.
Oh my God! They cloak and run away. Now there's only 14 ghosts left, so that
13
was
died or so.
huge. Yes, that was. My God, is Jon Snow really gonna win this after all of this back?
I hope so,
Good
because I don't want
Lord.
to game 3. I'm gonna be honest with you. I needed to.
Yeah, I need a break actually. go sit down in the green room and sip my sparkling water.
It's like Drunken Boy don't want it that bad, dude. You just came back. You don't need this.
Just walk away. Just walk away, Rick.
All right, and those are dead too.
I wouldn't even send out the medevacs with the Marines at this
can't.
point. Just
He's
throw
below
your
100 supply.
You want to throw your minerals away, sure, but you cannot replace those medevacs.
And this
so-
army should be keyed in on the fact that you just go to the right side now, and it's not a planetary. It is a dead base. That's one of the last orbitals. Nate, show me the tab. How many orbitals?
We have. There's 5 more after this.
What?
We got 5 orbitals left.
Ugh.
Yeah, these Terrans. Can you believe it? They build bases. That
I think
just
planetaries should be able
generate
to
money.
float, by the way. Tell
I
me why they
agree.
can't. Tell me why they can't.
Well, to be honest, I think it has to do with the recoil from the twin
No, that can't
Ibix
work.
cannon.
It has to land and plant, and you can even do another like planting time. Here's the last nuke, by the way. There's no way there's more.
Goodbye. He has 3 nukes remaining.
Son of a.
He has 3 nukes left. Now, for the 30 nukes he launched this game, only one of them did anything.
Oh, whoa.
I think he
Where did
died
that come
2,000.
from? Fungals, please. Thank you.
Ooh!
He has no fungals!
Can
No.
you just aim move him now?
Yes, he
yeah,
can.
This is over.
He's got 1 infestor.
And
No, he
that's
doesn't.
EMP too.
It's dead. Oh my god.
You
John
did.
Swing had 1 job!
You did. Drunken boy ties it up. Internally screaming, what if we get a game 3 just
Dude.
like that one again, Jeffrey?
That's the StarCraft is like a lot of other games where it's like that game was such work, like it was a chore for them. They were fighting so hard. And in the final fight, he's like, I'm going to attack that base. And then there's just 700 Marines behind. He's like, what? And they EMP the only thing he has that's an answer for that, which is the Infestors. If the Infestors somehow get their fungals off, there's no medevacs there. There's nothing. The whole army melts. But because of the EMP, he just dies. He dies 2 seconds later. That was like 40 minutes of build-up. It's almost like that was
Rapture.
8 seasons telling me that there's going to be this epic thing that happens, and then the thing that happens
Is there though?
is a child jumps from anywhere. A child. Yeah, that was
With a great
tough.
story,
So
right?
excited for this 3rd game.
Yes, very riveting. I'm emotionally moved. In anticipation.
Kevin.
That's what we
Kevin's
need.
in the
That's why
back
we need
room.
to bring Roddy out for this actually, because he would come in here and make us. He would come here and show us up so hard with
Oh,
his
of course.
undying passion for watching ghosts shoot broodlings for 20 minutes.
6 threads later, just people like, you know,
I really thought Rotterdam
Jeff gave
brought
up on
the
that
hype.
game, but Kevin remained excited for 45 minutes. Ugh.
By the way, it ended. Like I said, at that point when it's all minerals because you run all the guys
You're
just
right.
run
You
out.
said that a long time ago.
You're
yeah.
gonna end up with a ton of Marines versus a ton of Lings. Guess who wins?
Yeah. I mean, you made the call, and that was really good, and that ended up being very strong there. But it was still Drunken Boy's choice not to go like 10 ghosts, not to go 15.
No, yeah, he had like 40 at some point.
40 at
Capped.
some point. He like fell back to 20. You know, it's like he maintained this ridiculous number, and that basically was this backbone that Jon Snow could not get near.
Yep.
Infestors were the right call, but he kept getting massively EMP'd and getting shut down hard.
Yeah. Those of you who are hoping to see some Zerg play this weekend, there you go. It's been a
Oof.
heck of a ride. What are we missing now? When Battlecruiser Rush into Turtlemech and then to Mass Ghost, same thing again?
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is not a thing that Drunken Boy should try to drag the game into. He should just go into this 3rd game knowing, hey, if it gets really passive and I decide just to throw up a bunch of missile turrets and sit back, I know that I'm strong enough to win in that case.
I think that's one. Actually, for that reason, I think trying to force that situation again is not even the worst idea. Because when he tried to just brawl it out on Tom Cruise 84, he got dumpstered, and then, honestly, like that style from Terran, if the Zerg is willing to attack into you, like the whole point is to just basically trick the Zerg into being like, you let me get Broodlords and Infestors and Vipers, and then the Ghosts just snipe everything, and
Yeah.
the Zerg throws away, like, the resources loss tabs of those games usually end up being like 20 or 30,000 in favor of the Terran, because they're basically like, yeah, just hit me, attack my Ghost, bro, no problem. And then it's really hard to break Terran, actually, in that position. It's really, really, really hard to kill a Terran. That was like one of the things when people were doing their memeing this year on Serral. They're like, can you believe Innovation beat Serral in like the late game? And it was like games like that. I'm like, well, in that position, yeah, Terran is actually kind of unkillable, even against the often wind about late game Zerg armies.
Do you know whinge is a word?
Whinge?
Whinge about something?
Whinge, yeah, W-H-I-N-G-E, right?
Yeah. Just a weird thing to say, right?
I've only ever heard it as like it was like the whinging something. I feel like I read it in Harry Potter.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. But that also just brings my mind to the Winchester. And then I think about whether or not dogs
The Winchester
can look
Boys?
up. No, the Winchester pub. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What's a Winchester pub?
Well, it's not a real gun, Jeff. And dogs can look up.
Oh, you mean the Winchester Guns? That's a company.
Nope. Well, I'm making a reference, but
To what?
yes, you're right on both. Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about me. I never said I was a very deeply written character.
At least you like pizza. You got
They
that.
got a solid backstory for me, and then it just fell off real hard after that. You know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I got nothing. Let's just see what happens. See what happens in this game.
That is one of my favorite commentator filler, because it makes sense. Like, it's so in English language and how we talk that when someone says, let's see what happens, like, nobody thinks to look at what that person's saying, but it's one of the most innocuously stupid things you could ever say.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's see what happens. What were we doing before that? Not seeing what happens? Like,
Were we not paying
until
attention
you said that, I was like
previously?
walking off in this direction. Like, Jeff,
If
let's see what
someone's
happens. Like,
listening to this in their car, they're like, "Well, what am I supposed to
can't."
see? That's your job."
yeah.
Whew.
But it's something we say.
We're both a little tired from that last map. That's I'm just gonna I'll take the bullet and just admit it. That
It's
was
actually a
that was an
famous-
exhausting game.
There's a famous article, I believe it's called, gosh, I can't remember what it's called at this point in time, but it was about,
The Rotterdam fan club thread.
no, and every time you interrupt is, by the way, okay, get a little bit happier. No, it's about how people very commonly say you know. It's like a sentence filler, you know?
Yeah, I think I understand. You know,
It doesn't make any sense. Why do we say that,
It's fair.
you know? And now that I've said it, I have poisoned a population of people.
That's fine.
All right. Nate's feelings are hurt because I said he interrupted me, which is our back and forth here.
No, it's
We're gonna
fine.
have some Lings scouting out.
I try to be mindful of that. I don't like to do it. I'm aware of it.
We all have our things. I knocked Rubby into retirement. You interrupted me.
Did you punch him with the other hand or the same
Heck yeah,
one
dude.
you
You
used
can't
on
punch
Stefano?
someone with the same hand. No.
Okay, one for Stefano, one for Fear Drag.
Yeah, which didn't work, by the way.
Yeah. Well, Stefano kind of
Still, you don't claim retirement and then travel to every tournament as a professional player for a team. Like, what is that? What did you retire from?
Yeah. Well, you certainly prevented him from ever getting back to where he was before.
No. I mean, now,
Yeah.
Stefano was still one of the best. We just always laughed that his ZVZ was what held back for a while, but he was always in the top of tournaments.
Viking on the way. Stim. A lot of Lings going across the map here. This is one of those really nice opportunistic jumps for Jon Snow, being able to just get in on top of this. The 4 Marines are still inside the main base. With the Hellion supports, they will clean this up, but good bit of damage getting done here. Jon Snow's going to squeeze himself a little bit of an early advantage. He's kept the wall from going up. Actually getting this depot would be nice. Forcing a lift off on the command center is very nice. So you cannot even rebuild the SCVs to a time.
Yep.
Vikings asking himself, do I need to land to help?
And I'm contractually obligated to point out that there's no third orbital, so the SCV damage and the missed mining time is significant. Because if you have that third, you must point out that it's not significant.
That's true.
It's the law of commentating.
Yep.
Oh, that poor Marine. He was targeted.
Every good comeback story in StarCraft starts with a Terran that has 3 orbitals or a Dark Shrine. That's it. That's basically the 2 stories.
Oh, you're not wrong. Jeez. I didn't think of that.
Like, do we ever talk about Zerg comeback stories? Like, maybe sometimes there's a run-by, or like Baneling Bomb, like Scarlet Bomber. But the
Scarlet Bomber is
But the
fun.
fact that
Yeah.
so many... What was that, 2013, 2014? Jeff, it's been 5 years. That's
Yeah.
all we got. That's it. That's still it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I'm trying to think. What is the Zerg comeback?
Someone's like, what's the sickest Zerg play we've ever seen? Well, Scarlet versus Bomber, Burrowed Lings. I'm like, did nothing happen in 5 years after that? No, not really. Nope.
I feel like there's a Baneling Bomb somewhere, but it would be like Baneling Bomb, and that's about it. Queens getting brought forth to the scrappy final battle somehow.
Well, that's the thing, is people have such a negative impression of Queens burned into their brains over the,
Yeah.
8 years of them being...
It's not a
supposed-
comeback. They always had them.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. That's a good point, Nate. Someone in the chat want to help us out. What's the comeback of a Zerg?
Give me a better Zerg comeback. Do not... Give me something that we can talk about when we talk about crazy Zerg games that isn't Scarlet versus Bomber from 6 years ago, casted by people that don't probably even know the stats of a queen these days either.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, back in the game, it is going to be that regular 1-1 melee timing upgrades here for Jon Snow. It's something we typically see go into Spire, but we've seen a lot of Hydra from him, so I don't think we'll see the Spire all of a sudden in Game 3. And Drunken Boy just does Drunken Boy things. So yes, he had that Ling attack earlier on, and he would have used the Hellions for his like creep tumor fighting, which is the kind of cost of losing them earlier on. You're seeing here, but that's getting a little bit out of control. But otherwise, he does his thing, man. His very basic thing, by the way, which is not what we expect. We're like, Drunken Boy's got to be cheating, right? No, not even a little bit.
No. I feel like Drunken Boy was always more of that type of player in like in TVT. He definitely busted it out a lot back in the, of course, this is all back in the day, but
Yeah.
good catch here if he gets these Hellions.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of took an extra hit there, it looked like, right?
He did. He skipped past him for a second. I was like, what do you guys put on the brakes? Still no Hydra Dent or Spire, by the way. Or Infestation Pit. Okay, there is a Spire. Yeah. Interesting.
We're finally going to see some Mutalisks.
How do you think of that factors here, Nate, given what Drunken Boy's shown? Do
Well,
you like it?
I don't hate it. Mutalisks are, they feel very all or nothing. Like, they kind of remind me a little bit of like Swarm Hosts versus Mech almost, where you really need to do something impactful with them the first time they show up. Like, the first time that you show your hand, you don't want it to be like, oh, I'm getting dropped, the mutas come out and have to kind of defend it, right?
Yeah.
You want the first thing the mutas do to be either to like kill a medevac that's running away, or help chase down a bunch of stuff, kill some tech units, or you want to just fly in with like 12 and kill half a mineral line before there's missile turrets. That was, no, let the banelings hit that Viking. Anyway.
It's kind of cute, though. Shoots
gonna
him,
say.
lets him get close. He's like, no.
Doesn't do bonus damage. The Viking, I think, could take 3 Bane hits. Whatever. Potato, potato.
Potato, potato. Gonna fight a little bit on creep here. That's the difference. In the other 2 games, Drunken Boy did a really good job of edging out that creep and then fighting just off of it. But now he's on the creep, just the one tank. But he
Actually,
avoids the Banelings quite well.
That was a really good job. Be dealing with the Banelings.
Yeah. And Jon Snow, if there's a weakness in his play across these 3 games we've seen, I would say that he doesn't set up fights super, super well, right? Like, he just kind of like, I'm fighting over there, and either F2s or grabs everything and just sends it. So it kind of comes in piecemeal, and he's so good on the macro and production side that, of course, a lot of times he's able to just kind of muscle through that. But you can see the contrast, and not to be that guy, but I'll be that guy comparing to Serral. Serral does such a good job of setting up the full surround and coming in at all angles that he really gets more bang for his buck.
Oh my god, this is really sick. Coming in on this third base, the Banelings are there. There's nothing here to actually force the Banelings to be used yet, so they're just going to run up towards the natural and act as a buffer. Meanwhile, that drop hits the right side. The tanks and Marines clean up the Banes, but all those SCVs in the third are dead.
21 SCVs.
Yeah, that hurts. And now the Mutalisks, he's going to see them. Question remaining is how many Banes are back at the base. Looks like there should be enough to deal with this, but like 1 or 2 well-placed tank shots. And this this actually starts to look a bit weird for Jon Snow. He's flooding out Zerglings, though. Okay, there you go. He gets the Baneling hits he needs.
Yep, and the tanks are getting flanked as we speak right now as well. So with that drop, still up inside the main, but it looks like it's getting chased down. And now the attack over there on the other base getting cleaned up. And 21 SCVs going down. I'm going to come out and say it. I'm going to say something really bold right now, Nate.
Do it!
I think Jon Snow's ahead.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it. I think he's winning. I crunched the numbers.
You know, I was inclined to disagree with you.
Yeah?
Because, honestly, I just love being wrong. But,
Okay.
once again, I got a codec call in my ear. It's like a bone conducting
Yeah.
headphone. You can't hear it, but it's from Todd, and it said exactly what you would guess.
Look at D.
Look at D. He actually didn't even finish the sentence because
my God.
he knows that I know where he's going with that line.
Yeah. He looked at the supply of the word economy necessary to convey his idea and determined it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
11 more SCVs dying. Baneling's rolling forward. I don't think he's going to be able to plug the gap here as Mutas join the fray. There's no missile turrets to stop this. There is a Bioforce kind of coming over there. Everything is on fire. It's 130 plus supply for Jon Snow versus the clamoring 70-ish supply of Drunken Boy. And the kind of sad thing here, too, is while this is all happening, well, never mind. GG. Okay.
GG. Jon Snow has done it. He wins his match 2-1, and he will advance up to the winner's match, ladies and gentlemen, here, WCS America Group B.
America. Yeah, it was a great series, and I'm sorry that I in particular got pretty tired in that second game, but that was a long one.
Exhausting.
40-plus minutes, and it was a lot of action, a lot of nukes being dropped there. And Game 3 was high-paced as well, but it just felt like the kind of onslaught of aggression from Jon Snow and Drunken Boy once again kind of putting himself on creep and fighting, but just sitting
Yep.
there. He just kind of sat there.
He got a couple early Hellion kills. He got that little run by, killed a few SCVs here and there, forced the early lift off on the command center, just was generally annoying. And then that Ling Bang counterattack. You mentioned this, but the other benefit of having the enemy attack you on creep isn't just the surrounds, but the vision. And he's like, oh, you're here? Well,
Yeah.
go kill your third. No big deal. So with that being said, let's move on. We're going to take a look coming up next. That's the conclusion of our second series here for WCS America Group B. I believe next up is going to be the elimination match. And that, of course, is going to be a TVT. We're going to have Sotorx playing against Drunken Boy. And, yeah, let's see which one of these young whippersnapper Terrans that we haven't seen in WCS. Drunken Boy not in a long time. Who will come out on top? Coming up next, WCS. See you soon.